Welcome into the PFF NFL Daily. Today discussing Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders. Already some reports, rap sheet, I believe it is,
Mhm.
saying, hey, we could have some decisions to be made. Derek Carr and the Raiders could be dependent on the new coach. We also have Mike Mayock, news from Monday. He's out as general manager in Vegas. So there are some changes coming to the Raiders. So, Sam, the question is, will Derek Carr be a part of those changes? And should Derek Carr be a part of the changes for the Raiders?
Yeah, I just wrote up an article that was kind of like gauging each team's quarterback need. How needy are these teams? So, and the scale kind of went from nothing else this offseason matters. You know what I mean? Like Denver, right? Nothing else matters. Find a quarterback. That's it. To we're all set. We got Patrick Mahomes. We got Justin Herbert. We got Joe Burrow. We're fine. We don't need a quarterback. But somewhere in the middle, there was like an explore your options, phase where you might have a quarterback. You've got a guy it's not the end of the world if you have to run into next season with that quarterback. But let's play the field a little bit. Let's see what else is out there. Let's pick up the phone a few times and see what else we can do. And it was tough trying to work out where exactly the Raiders should go because Derek Carr is a good quarterback, and he's been improving. Once they put kind of talent around him again, sort of for the first time since that 2016 season where he was really, really good. His grade picked up. He started making a lot more big throws. He was still fourth in the NFL this year in big time throws. But once you started to pick away at that talent level, it's like, all right, he's kind of in that Kirk Cousins realm of he's good, maybe very good, but is he going to take it all the way there? Like, is he, we've already seen it gets thrown into context when you start to see guys like Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, right? Because that's what you're shooting for. There's an immediate difference between even these very good guys like Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr and, oh, here's something to really get excited about. And I just don't know if Derek Carr is that guy. And perhaps more importantly, his contract is going to be, due up again. You're going to have to not just decide, is he that guy, but is he that guy because here's a boatload of money coming in his direction. And given everybody's kind of been fired from the building, it's a natural break point if you want to make it happen.
Yeah, I think you described a lot of that well. I think the Cousins, the Carr. Honestly, I think Stafford was in this bucket. Last season, right? Stafford for his career has been in that middle tier of quarterback. I think when you look at Stafford and Carr during their era, they're not really top 8, or they weren't top 8, haven't been. They might be on the fringe of top 8 to 10 right now with a bunch of Big Ben getting old and retiring and Drew Brees disappearing, all this stuff, right? But then there's the money factor, and then there's the new regime factor. And I think it's an interesting time because last offseason, let's remember last offseason, the Rams had Jared Goff, capable starter. The Niners had Jimmy Garoppolo, who's their starter right now in the divisional round, one game away from the NFC Championship, 2 years removed from a Super Bowl, and the Niners are like, that's it. We need something better. We're going to trade up to number 3 to get something better. There are certain teams around the league who feel like they're equipped to get better. They need to get better, right? And so the Niners made a move. The Rams made a move. For now, maybe it's paid off, for the Rams. We'll see. The Raiders might think, well, we're in rebuild mode. We don't want to really have Derek Carr. However, if you're Sean Payton in the Saints, right, or another team around the league, say the Washington football team, right, that feels like they've got a pretty good nucleus intact and a good coaching staff, and you're, call it a QB away. Or you're Sean Payton and you're like, I need my post Drew Brees, quarterback. Give me a Derek Carr, and I will get us back to the top of the NFC South. Derek Carr is more intriguing for maybe other teams around the league, and I could see him having a lot of success and maybe getting over that hump of, getting in, not only getting into the playoffs, but winning a game and being a catalyst for a team, making a playoff run, much like Stafford has a chance to be right now. I think they're very similar, high 70s, low 80s PFF grades, which is good. It's not carry the team good, but it's also, the upper end of the middle class, I would say.
Oh yeah, like I think if he hits the market, if they did decide that it's time to reset and move in a different direction, there would definitely be suitors for Derek Carr. He's shown that he's good enough to be a massive upgrade for some teams that do need quarterbacks or that are in that bucket of, nothing else matters this season. Now, is he the guy that's going to propel a team that has okay quarterback play all the way to the promised land? There's nothing to say he is yet. Like, he's shown flashes of that, but never really taken them the whole way. But if a team really doesn't have a QB, he would take you somewhere pretty good pretty quickly. But I think that's the decision is, do you want to start again, or has he shown you enough the last couple of years that you can actually build around him and you can get to the Super Bowl? Because this was a playoff team despite everything that went wrong this year.
Yeah, Carr's in an interesting spot. 14th in average per year as far as salary goes. It's probably the place that he should be. We'll talk more about his contract and what he means. But first, we're on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is celebrating with a huge odds boost for new customers. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56 to 1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. If Sportsbook isn't yet available in your state, you can still get in on the action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contest, and DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF and get 56 to 1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. It's promo code PFF for 56 to 1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yeah, so Carr, again, getting paid in the middle class. He becomes a free agent after 2022. But then it becomes, okay, does he have to now be paid $30 million a year, which again will go up with the cap and all that stuff. But for a guy that's in that $25 million range, it is one of the more manageable, quarterback contracts, right? It was high at the time, and then it, settled into where it needs to go. Like, to maximize Carr and your roster, you kind of have to pay him in that 10 to 15 range as far as APY goes. But I just don't know if that's going to be on the table in a couple of years.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, he signed that deal a while ago now, right? So now it's reached the point where it is where it should be. It is kind of settled into this nice, manageable world, which is exactly the same point as he's going to be knocking on the door saying, it's time to re-up, right? It's time to reset this deal because I've been, like, my guaranteed money is done. It's time, right? Like, that's the nature of QB contracts right now. Is the second the deal actually gets manageable is the moment that guy starts looking for a new one, and you have to crank up the money again. So that's the issue, I think, for the Raiders is that, if the current deal was the one you were going to be working on for the next few years, it wouldn't be a bad place to be, because Derek Carr is earning probably below where he should be right now. He's getting, middle tier quarterback money, and he is upper middle tier quarterback caliber. And if you can surround him with some real, if you can replace what Henry Ruggs was bringing to that offense in terms of a deep threat, if you can get a healthy Darren Waller, if you can improve the offensive line a little bit, Derek Carr will be very good and he will outplay that contract. But that's not the deal you're going to be working from. Now you need to start thinking, well, all right, but what happens if this deal becomes top 3 APY, right? If he starts getting something just below the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type of deal, that changes all the math, right? That changes the calculations completely. Now you have to start thinking, well, do we even have the money now to start replacing the things we need to build this offensive line around him to give him the deep threat that he needs? Can we turn him into the same player with those financial restrictions? And the answer to that, I think, is a lot less clear.
So I'm intrigued from the Raiders' perspective to answer this initial question, right? I'm intrigued by maybe seeing what the market has to offer for Derek Carr, pulling in some draft picks, starting fresh, rebuilding this roster, playing with that rookie contract quarterback for a while, whether it's a Kenny Pickett or a Sam Howell or a Malik Willis, whoever that guy ends up being. I am interested in that. Or Marcus Mariota. I've been giving Marcus Mariota every team that's kind of in, QB transition. Do you bring Mariota back again, plus the rookie quarterback, just to see, right? And is there a massive drop-off between Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota? I think there's a drop-off, but maybe it's not massive as you're rebuilding the roster, and basically say the Derek Carrs and even the Kirk Cousins of the world, they might be more valuable to other teams right now. They might be more valuable to Sean Payton, who feels like he could turn that guy into a star, the football team that has a pretty good nucleus, the Broncos, who are in the division, they won't get Carr, but these other teams that feel like they've got the foundation and they're just a quarterback away, maybe leverage that and you get to start anew with a rookie contract quarterback, even though it's risky because you might not find a guy that's as good as Derek Carr, which makes this such a difficult problem.
Yeah, the difference to me is that so the Vikings went in the wrong direction and sort of fell south and everything blew apart. So you can kind of they're trending in the wrong direction. So you can look at Kirk Cousins and say all the things that went wrong, it wasn't enough, and now we need to start thinking of somewhere else. All the stuff that fell apart for the Raiders, they still ended up making the playoffs and giving the Bengals a good game, which I think makes it much easier for them to talk themselves into we can make this happen with Derek Carr. Like he's shown enough to hold this team together this year, to raise the level of some guys that weren't, under Renfro has had a fantastic year for them. Zay Jones was becoming a really useful player. Brian Edwards had flashes. Like he was getting good play out of these guys that I think if you're the Raiders, you can sell yourself on, we can make this happen with Derek Carr. He's good enough that it's going to be harder than if he was Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, but you can win with Derek Carr. So if it was me, I think I'd re-up him, even though it's going to be costly, and even though it's going to cause you some pain down the line in terms of financial problems.
Look at you coming full circle. Team Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the unknown, so I'll say throwing him out there to the trade market. Let's see. Where are the desperate teams that need a Derek Carr? Very good quarterback, which makes this a difficult decision. Let us know. What would you do with Derek Carr if you're the Raiders? It's the PFF